Hello and welcome to the Webcast for Wednesday, November 6th. I'm South Ops meteorologist Jonathan O'Brien. Visible satellite this morning shows we still have some high clouds streaming through the region, but nothing in the way of low clouds as offshore winds drag a very dry air mass into California. And as we go through the day, even those high clouds should decrease in coverage. We've been talking about it for days, and now it is here. A strong Santa Ana wind event is underway across Southern California. Here's a look at some current wind observations. The wind gust values are shown in red, and I've filtered out all the stations gusting less than 25 miles per hour. The wind barbs are showing northeast winds pretty much across the board, and there are some impressive gust values out there, including a 77 mile per hour gust at Fremont Canyon. In addition to the strong winds, it is already quite dry. Take a look at these current relative humidity values. These correspond to all the stations I just showed that are gusting above 25 miles per hour. So we're already down to 15 to 25% range in a lot of the windy spots, and these will only drop more through the day. There have been no changes to the forecast for this event. This will be a strong, widespread, and long-duration Santa Ana wind event. In terms of the strength of the winds, they are going to be at or near their peak this morning into early this afternoon. Expect continued sustained winds of 20 to 40 miles per hour with gusts to 60 miles per hour across the mountains, canyons, and passes of Southern California into this afternoon. And the most wind-prone areas will likely see stronger gusts of up to 70 to 90 miles per hour. By later this afternoon and through tonight and Thursday morning, winds will weaken a little bit, but will continue at solidly moderate strength well into the day on Thursday, before dropping off more substantially Thursday evening and overnight. Not surprisingly, humidity will also be very low during this event. You saw that it's already quite dry, and it's only going to get drier today. Here's a look at the expected minimum RH values today. Overall, for most of the Southern California wind corridors that we're concerned about, expect min RH of around 6 to 12% today and Thursday, with little improvement even by Friday. And the overnight RHs will be a big story as well. Recoveries will be very poor tonight, Thursday night, and even Friday night for most of Southern California, with max RH below 30% in many cases, and in some cases only getting up to 10 to 15% for a max RH. This is looking at areas of poor recovery for tonight, and anywhere that's shaded in orange is going to have a max RH of no greater than 30%, and again, in many cases, only about 10 to 20% for a max RH. Finally, temperatures today are really not going to change much, at least for the foothills and points westward. There will be significant cooling across the far interior, but as that cold, stable air descends down the mountain slopes, it will warm and lead to another day of temperatures mainly in the 70s for the valleys and coastal areas. These will stay pretty steady tomorrow as well. Red flag warnings remain in effect for much of the region. This includes some areas of so-called particularly dangerous situation or PDS red flag warnings for portions of Los Angeles and Ventura counties where the most extreme conditions are present. But any locations under red flag warnings are subject to critical fire weather conditions through Thursday night. By Friday, winds will be much lighter, but still generally offshore, especially in the morning. It will also remain very dry on Friday, so active burning conditions will still exist, but the threat will be ramping down on Friday. And by this weekend and into next week, we'll have more changes on the way. Weak high pressure will bring light winds by Saturday, and recoveries will start to improve more substantially by Saturday night. And by early next week, it's likely we'll see additional troughing coming in from the Pacific. This will likely keep our temperatures on the cool side again for much of next week. And there will also be some chances for rain next week, depending on how these troughs evolve. But we'll refrain from getting into that too much right now, given the ongoing wind event. In terms of the fuels, it really goes without saying that our 1 and 10-hour dead fuels will be extremely receptive throughout this event, considering the low RHs. Heavier dead fuels such as the 100 hours are still hanging on to some moisture from the weather this past weekend, but they will be on rapid drying trends as well and become increasingly receptive by later today and Thursday. Live fuel moistures are also still at or near critical levels. There has been little to no new grass growth and green up across the region so far this fall. So while we aren't in a drought status with well below normal live fuel moistures, they are still generally quite receptive for burning and near their normal seasonal minimum moisture content. And take a look at this graph of burning index for the South Coast PSA. Remember, BI heavily incorporates wind, and you can see in the green forecast trace that we're getting a big short-term spike well above the 90th to near the 97th percentile and near record levels for this time of year. So again, very active burning conditions. Considering all these factors, we're forecasting a high risk for new large fire starts both today and on Thursday. And I definitely want to emphasize the severity of this event. This is an extremely critical fire weather pattern, and this type of pattern has been associated with some of the worst fires in Southern California history. Any fires in wind-prone areas today and Thursday will have the potential to exhibit extreme fire behavior and may show near total resistance to any control methods. There will be particular concern for any fires that start relatively early in the day today, as they will have tremendous growth potential into tonight and Thursday due to the long duration of the event. Fire danger will decrease but remain elevated on Friday due to the lighter winds but still extremely dry conditions. Fire potential will then become much lower this weekend as winds become light and humidity recovers. So there is hope on the horizon, but we have some very tough conditions to get through before then. So stay safe out there as we work through these winds. That's it for today's webcast. Thanks for joining us. The next one will be on Thursday, November 7th.